everyone, this is Marco and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be taking another look at the Jurassic World Rebirth toys, but this time they're not just images, we actually have footage. Video clips taken by the people who have gone to this year's New York Toy Fair. We get a good look at the toys with the action features and all of that, and my goodness, they look really good. And all of this brings back so many nice memories from back in 2018. When we got the first look at all the brand new Mattel toys for the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom toy line. My goodness, that was so freaking cool. The toys we're taking a look at this time are just a very small amount of what's to come. It's what they call their media drivers, the toys that are released to advertise the brand new film. A quick disclaimer, all the footage you see in this video is collated from a bunch of different sources. All these sources have been credited in every part, and I highly recommend you go and subscribe to their channels or visit their profiles and follow them, because it is thanks to them that we're actually able to have a look at this stuff. A huge thank you goes to them. So first things first, we're going to be taking a look at some footage by Nerd News Today, and you might recognize a familiar face here. This guy is Patrick, the same dude that was there at the New York Toy Fair in 2018 a few years back. I remember him distinctly because he is so good at his job, and it's great to see him here again, and he'll be the one introducing us to all the toys. First thing I notice is that there's a lot less toys this time compared to 2018. That might be due to different reasons. One of them might be that Universal isn't quite ready to show off everything just yet. Another theory is that Mattel's probably trying to prioritize quality over quantity this time. Because I must say, the sculpts and everything on these toys looks next level. It looks much nicer than some of the previous releases. The first thing that Patrick shows us is the brand new T-Rex. He says it's completely redesigned and it has some cool realistic action features and light up effects, as well as sound effects too. This reminds me a lot of the epic roaring T-Rex because you can puppeteer the head using the tail. I wasn't aware that it had light up effects, and honestly, I'm not a big fan of that. But when I get mine, which I'm sure I will because this thing looks beautiful, I'm probably going to remove the batteries. So yeah, I'm a massive fan of this brand new T-Rex redesign. I love the big scale on the jaw and some of the details a little bit different. It's got some more sort of osteoderms on the tail too. It looks phenomenal. Patrick also says that it has a scan code under the foot. So no more awkward doors or sliding parts that could potentially spoil the sculpt. This time it's all hidden under the foot. And the feet also look a little bit smaller than the previous sculpts too, a bit more in line to what is proportionally realistic. Now here's a very interesting part. Notice how the toe claws are painted in quotes. They're a different color from the rest of the foot. It's a separate pigmented plastic part. This is a technique they have adopted in a previous figure with the Habitat Defender Triceratops, and I thought that was really clever. It cuts down on the cost of paint applications, but you still end up having some color variations. Now what I find quite perplexing and fascinating is that Mattel would rather go ahead to make more metal molds and create separate plastic pieces than to spend money on extra paint. This makes me wonder how expensive paint must be. Yeah, I know, right? Another thing I notice is that they seem to have reverted to going back to using the trypophobic speaker holes, as opposed to the nice sort of slash looking ones. A lot of people suffer from trypophobia, so I think this choice is a little bit weird. Also, I'm not too sure what that is, but I think it might be a switch of some sort. I wonder if you can turn your toy on and off. Bear in mind, the toys that we see here might be some prototypes, so the final products might differ. Some other things I noticed about the sculpt is that the T-Rex doesn't seem to have the belly texture that is iconic to the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World T-Rex. It makes me wonder if Mattel missed that detail, or if the new T-Rex in the film doesn't have the iconic belly texture. The detailing overall looks a little bit more scaly, a little bit more reptilian than what we're used to in a Jurassic T-Rex, which is cool. I like a bit of variation, but I think they balanced everything really well. It looks iconic, but it also looks like the Jurassic Park T-Rex. Very tastefully done. Also, the wrists are positioned correctly, just like what we see in the trailer. The palm of the hands actually face each other. which is what we know to be accurate to our current understanding of dinosaurs. It looks nice and chunky and thick, and I love it. Some people aren't happy with the oversized head and with the lack of paint on the tail, as well as the amount of teeth this Rex has in its mouth. It's got a lot more teeth than the one in the trailer. But one thing I'm certain of is that this is probably going to be one of my favorite T-Rexes that Mattel has ever made. Next is the Spinosaurus, and I really like it, to be honest. The action features look superb. Patrick says it has a thrashing tail activated by a flywheel, and that it has rubber teeth, which means much sharper looking and more realistic, but also quite safe for children still. Let's have a look at that action feature. It looks super organic and really cool. I love it. It also has some sound effects. Some people aren't a big fan of that because it means they can't put it in water. The paint is a little bit lacking, it's a bit basic, but again, I think that sculpt really makes up for it. The head sculpt looks just like what we see in the trailer, if not prettier, to be honest, and I can't get over how good those teeth look. Mattel has improved drastically since their first releases. Maybe not paint-wise, but everything else certainly. I noticed a small little gap between the claws and the feet plastic, which makes me think that it's got a separate piece of plastic for the claws, just like the T-Rex we saw earlier. Next is the Mosasaurus, and Patrick says it's the first figure of this species to have action features. It has a swimming action through the tail, and a button to open and close the mouth. So it can gulp down the Dilophosaurus figure it comes with, yes, it's included, but it also can spit it out. It can regurgitate it or vomit it out, which is a little bit weird. Nonetheless, it's really cool to have an action feature for a Mosasaurus. I really like the look of this toy. It's sculpted really well, it has some nice detail, especially on the osteoderms on the back. It has a fluke tail, which is cool, but I really like the paintwork on this one. I like the darker tips on the fins, and the variation in color overall, and the nice counter shading's a good touch too. Next is the Titanosaurus, and apparently it's the largest sauropod Mattel's ever produced. And this thing I'm just lost for words. It's massive. It's way too big for my liking because I can't put it anywhere. And I really hope it's disassemblable. That means you can take it apart and store it away, so it doesn't take up as much space. I really like the look of the Titanosaur in the trailer, but I'm not too sure about it now. The round head thing looked great in the trailer, but it looks a little bit much here. I'm not too sure. I'd like to have a closer look at it in the film. Also, Ethan, the paleontologist, and I did a video where we talked about the dinosaur designs, and we couldn't see the feet in the trailer, and we were hoping that it didn't have any claws on the front limbs.
I'm really interested to see the feet, because that's what a lot of the Jurassic Park movies mess up with sauropods. Especially Titanosaurs have really weird feet. They actually have no finger bones at all. They walk on their metacarpals. And it's probably a weight-bearing strategy because they were getting so massive. So I'd be really interested because the front feet should literally almost look like just a big pillar of flesh with no claws, nothing else on it. So I'm really interested to see if they actually do that.
Filmmakers usually tend to give big herbivores elephant-like feet because that's the closest big animal that is still alive that designers can reference.
In the past, at least the sauropods they were using do have toe bones and finger bones. Patasaurus, Mamenchisaurus, Brachiosaurus, but all those animals do have finger and toe bones.
Real titanosaurs don't have any claws, but it looks like they put claws on this one. I am aware these are supposed to be genetically engineered creatures, so I can give it a pass, but it'd be nice if they kind of reflected a bit of the modern understanding of these dinosaurs into their designs. Talking about the claws again, they're not painted, and they're not separate pieces of plastic either. And generally, I think the paint is a little bit lacking. I like the sails here and there on the neck and on the tail. The tail is super long. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get this figure. Even if I wanted it, it's just way too big. Also, a lot of people aren't fans of the articulation in the neck, especially in that midsection right there. It just abruptly cuts off, and I have to agree. Unless this is a way of maybe separating it to put it away in a box somewhere. But yeah, it just doesn't look that great like that. The whole figure is 50 inches long and over 30 inches tall. My goodness. Now the next one is really cool. I love what they've done with it. It's the Quetzalcoatlus. First of all, it's nice and big. Oh, I love a nice large pterosaur figure, but also it can be posed in both a flying position and a walking position, which is amazing. Patrick says there's 2 buttons on the back and that it has cloth wings, which is a great idea for pterosaurs. As you can see, there's a speaker hole there and it doesn't have the trypophobic holes, it's got the nice slashes, which I think looks much nicer. You can pose the head up and down too, so it can look straight on when it's flying and it can look down when it's walking. It's a very, very nice looking toy. Very well designed, I think. It makes me wish all the pterosaurs that Mattel has released for the Jurassic line were all designed in that manner. Just imagine a Dominion Quetzalcoatlus that size and with those features. It would be awesome. And now imagine a Jurassic Park 3 Pteranodon like that, because we do see it walk in the film. Oh, imagine the possibilities. Now, paintwork wise, it doesn't exactly replicate what we see in the film, because in the trailer the neck was more on the blue side, the beak was a lot more yellow, but it still looks really nice. I really like what they've done with this. And then Patrick goes ahead and shows off some more products, but they're not part of the main figure line. I am more interested in the mainline figures, so I'm not going to talk about the rest as much. We do know there's plenty of more sets coming out that weren't shown in the toy fair, but there's one thing that they did show at the toy fair, and it was this Mosasaurus and boat set. They're not in the same scale as the mainline figures, they're a bit smaller, but the Mosasaur looks just as nice. I love it. And best part is that you can put these in the water. There's also a really cool hatching T-Rex toy. It's not by Mattel, but it's by Spin Masters. And I'm in touch with one of the people involved with the creation of this toy. I wonder if I could get them on a YouTube video to talk about the toy. That would be awesome. I can't wait to see what Mattel makes next. There's plenty of more stuff. Patrick said there's human figures coming out too, and I can't wait. Especially, I would love to see some more raptor figures. Man, I love the raptors. So that's it for today. I'd like to give a massive thank you to all the people that took the footage, and a big thank you to you, the viewer, for watching my video. Thanks again, and take care.